Is being a full-time artist all it's cracked up to be? Hello, my name is Cassie, and this is my colorful life. I have a lot on my plate. I'm a mom, an artist, a book blogger, and I have an 8 to 5 job on top of all of it. Balancing everything can be a lot, so I'd love to share some of my favorite tips and tricks for how I've learned to handle it all. There are a lot of stories out there about quitting your job and going full-time with your art. And that is amazing for so many people. I know it's a big goal for a lot of creatives out there. But with that accomplishment comes a lot of pressure. And there are actually some really big perks to keeping your day job while still building up your art business. Selling art full-time can often mean really inconsistent paychecks, which mortgage lenders really do not like. I love the consistency and the relief that my 8 to 5 provides. It lets me experiment. I get to take risks and have those natural ebbs and flows in my creative business without having to panic about how I'm going to pay the bills. I have a family and a house to support, and it's so important to make sure that they are taken care of first before everything else. That being said, before you start blocking out all of your art events and hours, there's one more step that really matters. Sitting down with your family and talk together about how much time you're all comfortable with you dedicating towards your art. The first thing that I do is block out on my calendar time for family. And then we decide how many hours, which weeks, which events that we're all comfortable with me attending. If it were up to me, I love being out there and doing what I do. And so making sure that they're included and they're all happy and we're all making sure that our needs are met is the most important thing. Running a business does mean sacrifices, but it should be things like less TV or weekend plans. Your family should never be sacrificed. They are the most important always. And having that conversation helps all of you stay on the same page so that everyone feels supported. Even if you're the one holding the paintbrush, there's a whole team behind you. I know that I can't do any of this without them. And once they're on board, the rest gets a whole lot easier. So here are a few of my go-to tips for how I manage everything in the day-to-day. I juggle a lot. I am far from perfect, but it is possible to use what little pockets of time to actually handle like all of your multi-passions and responsibilities. Work with the time that you have available. You might feel like if you're just starting out that you don't have the same resources or time available. And I just want to tell you that when I started painting 5 years ago, my child was 4 years old. I was a very busy mom and he demanded a lot of my time. So the only time that I had to paint was Saturday mornings when he had designated screen time. I would put Bluey on for a couple hours. And then in that same room, I would set up on it was our kitchen table at the time, and I would paint while he watched a show. And it worked out great. He was occupied. I was able to keep an eye on him and then take care of my needs all at the same time. Eventually, we graduated from the kitchen table to I set up like a folding table in my living room. Having a designated space with all of your art supplies out and ready to go so that you can just start creating when you have that little pocket of time to work is such a game changer. You don't have to get all your stuff out. You don't have to be mixing up paints or figuring out where all your supplies are. That can really just crush that creative momentum. So having it all ready and laid out, it was messy. Everyone that came over would see that I had this folding table set up against the wall where I did all my paintings. And it was a rental. We were in a little basement apartment. I just put I bought drop cloths and put, what's it called? Like plastic tarp stuff along the wall so that it would catch all of the paint. It was in a carpeted living room. I will try to insert a picture of my workspace if I can find one here. But wherever you can make this work for you, whatever your space looks like. Now that my son is older, I typically will do my paintings. I have most of my energy at night. So I prefer to paint after he has gone to bed. I'll be painting from like 10 to midnight. But sometimes life throws me a curveball and I have to get up earlier. So I will get up an hour or two before work and get paintings done at that time as well. And sometimes if I have a really strict deadline or an event coming up that I need extra time to prepare to, I do take a day or two off of work. I know that that is not a privilege that everyone has, but I just want to be transparent that sometimes I need to take the Friday off before my big festival to get all my stuff together. It really takes the load off. I use a vacation day for that. And if that's something that you don't have available, you're just going to have to plan extra in advance to accommodate for that and work with the time that you do have. Another thing that really helped me was making a plan for what I wanted to work on before I had the time to work on it. So during my lunch breaks or any time that whether you're driving in the car on your commute or whatever it may be, that's when I would figure out what it is that I want to work on. I would make a loose plan. In fact, I still do this now. Let me go grab so I can show you what I've been doing now. Working on a big collection right now, and I have a little sketch of what all of the canvases are supposed to look like, what colors are supposed to use. My work is still very intuitive and abstract, but having this plan makes it so that when I actually have time to get in here and start painting, I can just get started right away. I don't have to be looking for inspiration or scrolling on my phone trying to figure out what it is that I'm going to do. Having some sort of loose plan ahead of time, it really makes everything flow more smoothly. The hardest thing for me is that I have seasons where I am really productive and doing stuff a lot, and then other months things are really slow. And I could go like all month without doing anything or just feel like I don't have the time. And I want to let you know that having those ebbs and flows is this part of being a creative. It's okay to have seasons where you do more and seasons where you do less. I think that helps us have the energy and the space to be able to create more things. So I'd like you to embrace that. Try not to be too hard on yourself. I know I do it too, where I feel really badly about myself when I'm not being as productive as I would like to be. But it just goes with the territory, and you need to have those moments of rest in between. So, that being said, don't let those moments of rest take over your life. I know it can be really easy to, when you have that time blocked out, be like, oh, I don't feel like it today. I need another rest day. Don't let that turn into like a rest year. I encourage you to, if you have the time and you have the desire to create, that you do it even when you are not totally feeling up to it. So if you don't feel like creating or you're struggling to get into that flow, something that really helps me is when I know I have that time carved out and I'm not in the mood, I make myself come and sit at my desk and I will do a warm up or a practice painting or a study. I love to open up some royalty-free images or pictures of friends, something on Pinterest. It's just for you. And then I will either do a study and just paint some random pictures. This is something that's great to get me in. It's different than the artwork that I make, but it gets me into like that creative headspace. So I'll either do studies or just do warm-ups where I just kind of scribble for a little bit. And it kind of helps get into that headspace. Most of the time after doing this, I'm in a good mood to actually work on one of my pieces. And if I do this and I'm not in a good mood, at least I did this. And it's something that was low pressure and it's a stepping stone towards more later. Anytime you show up for yourself, that effort pays off in the end. So another thing that makes my life difficult is that I'm a multi-passionate individual. So I do my job, I'm a mom, I garden. I also have a book blog that I run on the side. And having two social accounts to take care of is incredibly difficult and hard to juggle. So I like to batch all of my book content. I do that once a month. I take all of the photos, write all the captions, and plan everything out. And then I just schedule it throughout the month. It's a lot of work, and sometimes I just don't get to it, and a month might pass, and I have to accept that. But that's what I do. I do try to have designated days. I have like Monday, Wednesday, Friday are book blog day, bookstagram days, and then the other days I do my art stuff. It's a lot of work. I wish if I could go back, I would have them all be together in one thing and not have them like niche down into separate accounts. I think that would have made things a lot easier, and that it would have been something fun. But we're too far gone at this point. So it is what it is. But that's how I manage the book blog. So if you have multiple passions, you'll just have to figure out a schedule that works for you. That's how I choose to divide up my time. Anyway, I hope this was remotely helpful. That's how I handle my very messy, imperfect life. It's a lot of work. I'm busy. I love it. But anytime you put that energy and effort towards showing up for the things that are important to you, that energy does come back to you. So I encourage you to keep working at it and take out the time that you need to go after the things that you love. What is the biggest challenge that you face when you are trying to balance creativity and your life? I would love to hear about it. And if you have any tips and you've got this down, help a girl out. I'll see you next time.